friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and I'm so excited that you decided to take time out of your day to spend with me, because today we will be doing a video for Disability Pride Month. If you did not know, Disability Pride Month is the month of July, and I know it's almost over, but we got it in. We made it, and I could not let this month pass without offering you some book recommendations that feature characters with disabilities, especially as someone who has recently been diagnosed with some things. Yeah, it just felt like something we needed to do. Before we hop into this, I would just like to talk a little bit about my own personal health journey. If you've watched this channel for any length of time, you know that I have been going through with my health, and it's been happening for probably a couple of years at this point. But here recently, within the past couple of months, I have gotten some diagnosis, gotten some answers, and we have started to make progress. So while this channel isn't necessarily dedicated to that, it's a part of my life, it's a part of who I am now, and I think to kind of help myself get through this, I need to talk about it. So very briefly, I have been diagnosed with one of the trifectas, and that is fibromyalgia, hypermobility, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and possibly POTS. But I haven't been to the cardiologist yet, but one of the specialists I'm seeing does think that I have POTS symptoms. I just needed to take a break before I went to the cardiologist to get that formal diagnosis, because going to the doctor is tiring. And because I probably most likely have this trifecta, it causes other things to happen, like, you know, your girl also has some endometriosis, some interstitial cystitis, or IC, also with the IBS. It's a lot of stuff going on every day in this body of mine, and I just be trying to make it. So reading books with characters who feel like me, resemble me in that way, has been very helpful, and that is why during this month I would like to share some of those with you. Enough yapping about that. If you would like me to talk more about how I reached the point of getting a diagnosis, I would be happy to go more in depth with it. Not sure how much detail I would share, but I would offer more information just to help somebody else. So if you want that, let me know. For real this time, let's talk about these books. So the first one I would like to talk about is Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. This is the first book in the Wicked Games series, and in this we follow Ophelia, who has OCD. So that is the representation that we're getting in this book. And basically Ophelia discovers that her mother is brutally murdered, and there's no time to grieve because she has inherited the family's magic and enormous debt. Circumstances go from dire to deadly, however, when Ophelia's sister decides to pay off the loan by entering Phantasma, a competition where contestants rarely escape alive and the victor is granted one single wish. The only way for Ophelia to save her sister is to win. But Phantasma is a cursed manor full of twisting corridors and lavish ballrooms, staffed by enticing demons and fatal temptations. And Ophelia must conquer all 9 floors to succeed if her fears don't overtake her first. When a charming, arrogant stranger claims he can help, Ophelia knows better than to trust him. But with her sister's life on the line, Ophelia can't afford to turn him away. She'll just need to ignore the overwhelming dark attraction drawing them closer and closer together, because in Phantasma, the only thing deadlier than losing the game is losing your heart. And I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I have not continued on in the series yet, but that is in the plans for this year. I think even as someone who doesn't have OCD or know anyone or know how it even really fully works, this gives you a picture of it. Next up, we have Where Shadows Meet by Patrice Caldwell, and this is a young adult fantasy romance. I want to say I wouldn't call it technically romantasy, but it definitely has a romantic subplot in it. Once long ago, a girl named Favre sacrificed her wings for love. Thana, the young goddess she so willingly gave them up for, sacrificed the same love for power. But everything has a price. Favre never got over the loss of her wings, and Thana's choices led to a life of eternal night and later their destruction. Favre has bided her time ever since, waiting for the chance to resurrect the girl she loves who turned her into the creature she hates. Now, 1,000 years later, Layla, the crown prince of a vampire nation, must travel to Necros, the island of the dead, when her best friend is captured during an attack on her nation's capital. But nothing is as it seems. The closer she gets to rescuing her best friend, the more she risks awakening an ancient evil and destroying everything she holds dear. Set in the aftermath of a war between vampires, humans, and the gods that created them, Patrice Caldwell's devastatingly romantic fantasy Where Shadows Meet centers the heart-wrenching pain of loss and the struggle of self-discovery to ask, do we choose our fates or do our fates choose us? So this book has some chronic pain representation. Our princess, who I just said her name but forgot, Layla, has some chronic pain, and I think it was explored in a really good way. This, I think, is supposed to be a duology. We have not heard anything about a second book in this series, but it's also very short, I think at 300 pages or a little under. And so if you're looking for something short, vampy, black, and has chronic pain rep, this is the one for you. Next up, we have Always Only You by Chloe Leese. And honestly, when it comes to Chloe Leese, all of her books have some form of representation in it. It's just different things in different books. I have only read this one. The rest of them are currently on my TBR, so we'll talk about them as I get to them. In Always Only You, we have autism rep, and also we have rheumatoid arthritis rep. Okay, there's something in my eye, so it was looking red or irritated or I'm itching it. Something's going on, friend. I don't know what it is. But in Always Only You, we follow Ren, who has known Frankie was a woman worth waiting for since the moment they met. She's a master of deadpan delivery, has a secret heart of gold, and a rare one-dimpled smile that makes his knees go weak. But as long as Frankie's the team's social media manager, she's off limits. Frankie is a self-admittedly blunt, grumbly grump, but even she isn't immune to a sunshiny Ren Bergman, who could be when he's a 6'3" hunk of happy with a hockey player's physique. Maybe in the past, Frankie would have gone for a guy like him, but since being burned too many times by people who learn about her diagnoses and see a problem, not a person, she's wised up. After waiting years for the right time to make his move, Ren learns Frankie's plan to leave the team to pursue a new career, but what he didn't anticipate is how hard he'll have to work to convince her to let him have his shot at winning her heart. And this was really cute. I had a great time with it. Like I said, I do plan to read more of Chloe Leese. That just has not happened yet. Next up, we have Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is the first book in the Between Earth and Sky series. I don't have this whole series because I haven't read it. I've only read Black Sun and just recently finished, it's actually sitting right here, just recently finished Favorite Star, and both of these feature characters who experience blindness. And so if you are looking for that type of representation, this is a great fantasy story inspired by the civilizations of the pre-Columbian Americas, woven into a tale of celestial prophecies, forbidden magic, and crafted with unforgettable characters. In the holy city of Tova, 3 lives are converging during a solar eclipse prescribed by the sun priest as an unbalancing of the world. Meanwhile, a ship launches from a distant city bound for Tova and set to arrive on the solstice. The captain of the ship, Giala, is a disgraced teak whose song can calm the waters around her as easily as it can warp a man's mind. Her ship carries 1 passenger. Described as harmless, the passenger, Serapio, is a young man, blind, scarred, and cloaked in destiny. As Giala well knows, when a man is described as harmless, he usually ends up being a villain. Check this one out. We have The Final Strife by Sarah El Arifi, and this is in the same boat. I have only read The Final Strife, but the representation does carry on throughout the series. I just can't personally recommend you a book that I have not read. So we'll be talking about The Final Strife, and in this there are a plethora of physical disabilities. In this, we have a whole race of people who have had their tongues cut out as well as their hands cut off. So yeah, it's a little rough. I kind of just threw you in there, but friends. This is so good. So this book follows a civilization where there are 3 different blood types, and how you are treated is dependent upon that blood type. So we have the red, who is the blood of the elite, of magic, of control. Blue is the blood of the poor, of workers, of the resistance. Clear is the blood of the slaves, of the crushed, of the invisible. Scylla dreams of her days growing up in the resistance when she was told she would spark a revolution that would free the empire from the red-blooded ruling class's tyranny. A spark that was extinguished the day she watched her family murdered before her eyes. Honor has been told that she's nothing, no one, a disappointment, by the only person who matters, her mother, the most powerful ruler in the empire. But when Scylla and Honor meet, a fire burns between them that could consume the kingdom and their hearts. Hassa moves to the world unseen by the upper classes, so she knows what it means to be invisible. But invisibility has its uses. It can hide the most dangerous of secrets that can reignite a revolution. And when she joins forces with Scylla and Honor, together these grains of sand will become a storm. As the empire begins a set of trials of combat and skill designed to find its new leaders, the stage is set for blood to flow, power to shift, and cities to burn. And if you are going to read this book, I want you to know you need to be in a good mental headspace. Check the content and the trigger warnings, but this is such a good story, and so if you can handle it, I highly suggest reading this one. Next up is Pulling Doubles by Christina C. Jones. This is the 2nd book in the Wright Brothers series, and this entire series features some type of representation. I just personally wasn't a fan of the 1st book, so we're gonna talk about the 2nd book because I did like that one. So in this one, we have representation for diabetes. I think each book in the series features some different type of representation, because I know the first one, we have limb difference representations. You can pick these up based on what you would like to read, or read them all. You know, why not? So all Devin wants, besides a tall, fine husband and eventually a few babies to fulfill her about to turn 30, running out of time, cute Black family dreams, is to finish her year-long internship at University Hospital. She's excited about the experience, eager to learn, glad to help wherever she can. It should be easy, right? Well, it would be if it weren't for arrogant know-it-all, always got something to say, Dr. Joseph Wright. Devin can't stand him, and if his attitude is any indication, the feeling is mutual, or is it? Joseph doesn't do doctors or nurses or patients or anyone who has anything to do with the hospital, for that matter. University Hospital has infiltrated enough of his life, and the last thing he needs is a blurring of the lines between professional and private, until smart, sexy, sassy nurse Devin Eccles comes along and stomps all over those lines. When you're pulling levels with a person you hate to want so bad, something is bound to ignite. Yes, if you love a hospital setting, workplace romance, a little maybe hate to love but not fully, kind of like irritation to love type situation, then this one will work good for you. Next, I will be talking about a series. It's one of my all-time favorite series and a very beloved, well-known one, and that is the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. So we have the 5th season, we have the Obelisk Gate, and ending with Stone Sky. And there's representation throughout this series of chronic pain, amputation, limb difference, and neurodivergence as well. So this is something that's hard to explain, because I think it's best gone into with as little knowledge as possible, and just kind of let the book happen to you and let the revelations kind of come as they do. But I will read you the little piece it has on the back. This is the way the world ends for the last time. It starts with a great red rift across the heart of the world's sole continent, spewing ash that blots out the sun. It starts with death, with a murdered son and a missing daughter. It starts with betrayal and long dormant wounds rising up to fester. This is the stillness, a land familiar with catastrophe, where the power of the earth is wielded as a weapon, and where there is no mercy. And also, I would check the trigger and content warnings going into this book as well, because it's a little, but it is so good. And I listened to it and kind of immersive read this because I was very intimidated by this series. But friend, once you get in it and you know what's going on, you're gonna eat it up. Then we have the Dating Playbook by Farah Roshan. This is the 2nd book in the Boyfriend Project series, but they are just interconnected standalones. I didn't read them in order. I actually read the last one first, so but do as you will, as you want. The representation in this book is a learning disability as well as ADHD. When it comes to personal training, Taylor Powell kicks serious butt. Unfortunately, her bills are piling up, rent is due, and the money situation is dire. Taylor needs more than the support of her new best friends, Samaya and London. She needs a miracle, and Jamar Dixon might just be it. The also fine former footballer wants back into the NFL, and he wants Taylor to train him. There's just one catch. No one can know what they're doing. But when they're accidentally outed as a couple, Taylor's game plan is turned completely upside down. Is Jamar just playing to win, or is he playing for keeps? And this was a really cute sports-y, but not really type romantic comedy situation. Next, we will talk about one of my favorite romances of all time, and that is Mickey Chambers' Shakes It Up by Cherish Reed. And in this one, we have hyperthyroidism representation. We follow Mickey Chambers, who is an expert at analyzing modern literature, but when it comes to figuring out her own story, she's feeling a little lost. At 33, she's an adjunct instructor with a meager summer class schedule and too many medical bills, courtesy of her chronic illness. Picking up a bartending gig seems perfect. Sure, Mickey's never done this before, but the gorgeous, grumpy bar owner, Diego, might be the perfect man to teach the teacher if he wasn't so stressed. Diego is worried he's running his late wife's bar into the ground, add the pressure of returning to college part-time at 42, and it's no wonder he's making rash decisions, like hiring the sunny, sexy woman who looks more at home in a library than slinging beers to rowdy barflies, and who turns out to be teaching his online writing course, a complication neither was expecting. It's not long before Mickey starts re-energizing the saloon with cocktails, karaoke, and an optimism even Diego can ignore. They need to fight their feelings if they want to keep things professional, but all it takes is one sip, one kiss to shake both of their worlds forever. And when I tell you that Mickey and Diego are one of my favorite book couples ever, they are. And I might be due for a reread of this soon because I just need all these vibes. This is a fall themed book, but it has autism representation in it. And so, you know, when you're feeling like you need a cute, cozy fall read, this one will be a good one for you. And that is There's Pumpkin About You by Athena Carstairs. And this follows one determined party planner and one grumpy pumpkin farmer. Given the chance to plan her bestie's 30th birthday bash, Ren is determined to create an experience so big and so bold that the name of her party planning business spreads beyond the confines of her own small town. The key to her plan, the Finch family's Gold Leaf Pumpkin Farm. It's not just the perfect venue, but also the perfect supply partner for the autumnal themed bash Ren envisions. But to get what she wants and needs, she'll have to get gorgeous grouch August Finch on board. The table is set and the battle is about to begin, but who will fall first? Yeah, this was cute. This was a good time. Like I said, if you're looking for a fall cozy read with some autism representation, this is the one for you. We have Late Bloomer by Maisie Eddings, and this is a sapphic romance where we have neurodivergence representation. So winning the lottery ruined Opal's life. She may have been able to leave her dead-end job, but now she's getting endlessly bombarded with people knocking at her door for a handout, and she can't seem to stop saying yes. Opal realizes she has a chance to follow her own dreams and decides to spend almost all her new money on a failing flower farm in North Carolina, where she can start her painting business. But her plans for isolation soon go hopelessly awry when an angry, albeit gorgeous, Pepper is waiting for her at her new farm. Pepper states that she's the rightful owner of Thistle and Bloom Farms, and she isn't moving out. There's not much else they can do except strike up an agreement of cohabitation, but they're soon butting heads at every turn. While they each have a reason to stay, can these two opposites find a way to plant some roots? Or will their combustible arguing and growing attraction burn the whole place down? Yeah, if you're looking for something summery, springy, it's a flower farm, it's sapphic, good representation, it's a good time. We have another one of my favorite series and also contains some of my favorite romances of all time, and this is no stranger to the book community at all, but I just felt like I would be remiss to not mention these. So Yeah, that is the Brown Sisters trilogy by Talia Hibbert. So let's talk about these three books. We start off first with Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and this one in particular is one of my all-time favorite romances of all time because this has fibromyalgia representation. I read this book twice, and at the time I did not know that I have fibromyalgia, but her symptoms just felt so similar to mine and who she is as a person. I like fully, me and Chloe are the same person. And so, yeah, this one was always one of the ones that are close to my heart, but also now, especially that I have one of the diagnoses in this book, it just hits a little harder, you know what I mean? Next up, I'm gonna keep saying this, oh my god, this is probably one of my favorites too, but we have Take a Hint, Dani Brown, and this one has some anxiety rep with our love interest, Zaf, and he is just the sweetest, cutest, grumpiest, anxious little baby, and I just want to give him a hug. Also, I love Dani as a character, as a person. Like, I just, all the things. These are such great romances and has such a good representation. Yeah. And then finally, this is the only one that I actually haven't reread yet, so I might need to make that happen soon. We have Actor Age, Eve Brown, and this has autism rep with our girl Eve, and I might need to reread this soon. I haven't done that yet, but it's also kind of like an opposite attracts situation as well. And yeah, I just love this series so much, like with my whole heart. It's one of my favorites ever. We have Not Safe for Work by Nisha J. Tooley, and this is a romance that has chronic migraine representation. We follow engineer Tashara, who once dreamed of being the first woman of color to smash the glass ceiling at WMC Purcell, but after years of dealing with white male privilege and blatant nepotism, she watches her hard-earned promotion go to her nemesis, Raph, the boss's son. Teetering on the edge of burnout, Trish is stunned when she's picked to attend WMC's corporate leadership retreat in Hawaii. It's a chance to revive her stalled career and compete for a coveted spot in an executive training program. Plus, 3 weeks in paradise. The only downside, Raph is her co-attendee. Trish plans to avoid Raph entirely, but when she arrives in Maui, a booking error has them stuck sharing the honeymoon suite. Sure, it's not all torture. Raph is a smoldering 10, okay, fine, an 11. But after years of competition, they can barely stand being in the same time zone. As they vie against each other during aptitude tests and team building exercises, Trish begins to realize Raph might not be the villain after all. With her dreams at stake, can she learn to trust the man who might have been standing in her corner all along? Very vacation-y type vibes for that book. And the last book that I want to talk about for this video is one of my more recent reads, but also one of my more recent favorites. This book stole my heart completely, and I can't say enough good things about this. It found me when I needed it, right when I needed it. And that is It's All in Your Head by Sabina Norquist. And friends, this has all the representation in it. Most of the characters featured in this book have some sort of something going on. We have idiopathic intracranial hypertension, we have POTS, we have chronic pain, we have depression, PTSD, interstitial cystitis, mobility aid users, HEDS, which is hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and also fibromyalgia. And that's not even everything. That's just what I could collect off the top of my dome in remembrance. But this has so many things in it and so many different types of people represented. Like, friends, if you don't take any recommendation that I have given in this video, take this one seriously. This is the one. So in this one, we follow Skylar, who is done with offline relationships, especially romantic ones. Living with chronic illness means she's heard it all before. Unreliable, high maintenance, too much. She'd rather spend her free time in her online support group. And lately, she can't help but notice Pike, the hot new guy with a penchant for broody poetry. When a chaotic night in the group forces her to pose as his girlfriend, she reluctantly agrees to keep up the charade in real life. I cannot talk right now. Fake dating gets a lot more complicated when she discovers Pike is actually a professional snowboarder whose career-ending injury is as infamous as his dating history. He won't talk about that though. He's fine, really. But spending time with Skylar turns out to be the least depressing thing he's done in months. Just as all the bed sharing and late night talks start to feel real, the paparazzi catch on, wanting to scoop wanting the scoop on everyone's favorite Olympic medalist. Dating while disabled comes with challenges of its own, but public speculation and invasive questions are something else entirely. If their newfound feelings can't survive the spotlight, their not so fake relationship may be over before it ever truly begins. Read this, friends. Read this, okay? And that is my Disability Pride Month recommendation list. This is not exhaustive, and I'll probably be doing different parts of this throughout the time I'm on this channel, because I really am looking for, always looking for good chronic illness representation. I feel like it helps me feel seen, helps me feel not as alone, and all this happy stuff that we're not going to get into, right? But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Anything that you do to support me and my channel, friend, I greatly appreciate it. Hope you have the best day that you possibly can. If you have any other chronic illness or disability reps, drop them in the comments below so everyone can share and get in on it, because I also am looking for Rex myself, And anyway, hope you have the best day that you possibly can. I just said that. This is the second time I've done that twice. Whatever. Have the best day. I will see you in the next video. Bye, friends.